Go.
So my presentation is on electric vehicles in modern life and how they're being implemented, what challenges are still being faced with electric vehicles, and how competing products are inhibiting the use of electric vehicles in modern life. So basic introduction, there are three types of typical electric vehicles. You have cars, electric cars, you have electric motorcycles and electric bicycles, and then off of that you have a bunch of spin-offs, electric skateboards and stuff like that. So for my focus was on why are these not more common? And basically the main problem that they have right now is that they're too expensive. So these are niche markets where a car could cost you upwards of $70,000 and it's not readily available. So one of the other things that they had is, so another problem that they have is that cost of production is way too high and the technology isn't really there to make it like a mass market product. So to determine what were the problems with why this isn't a more available product, I first researched what are the most expensive parts of an electric vehicle. Then I looked at the products that it has to compete with, and then I looked at how technology and manufacturing is improving in these areas, and finally what other factors must change in order for these vehicles to be successful. So the first thing that I found is that the most expensive part of the car is the battery. So according to Tesla, about 2/3 of the price of the car is just in the battery. And the reason for that is that they need a large amount of batteries, and batteries are very heavy. So they take up, so you need to reinforce the car and do other things that go along with the battery that raise the price. And then in addition to that, the technology isn't there. As you guys saw with the Samsung Note 7, basically they tried to go with a lithium ion battery. They're just not stable enough, the technology isn't there to make those type of batteries stable enough. And so the battery you need in a car is a much larger battery, and they just haven't had the technology to make these batteries stable enough. The second part is that it's competing with gas and petroleum. So while a battery could cost you $25,000 to $45,000, over 8 years, which is the lifespan of a typical battery in a Tesla vehicle, you will only spend about $16,000 worth of gas. So it's much cheaper to buy the car that uses gas than to invest in a car that's gonna run out of that's gonna need a replacement battery in 8 years, and it's gonna run you a more expensive price than the actual gas. So basically the conclusion is that in order for these vehicles to become readily available, there has to be a huge push in technology and manufacturing. Tesla right now is building their Giga factory, which is hoping to bring down the cost of manufacturing vehicles down. But still the technology isn't there to build high-powered, low weight and low space batteries. And so until you don't fix that problem, there isn't going to be an effective way to bring electric vehicles into the forefront. So any questions on electric vehicles?
Do they build any nuclear vehicles?
So the problem with nuclear vehicles is that the technology, you would have a bunch of nuclear reactors running around in the street. So an accident would be a huge threat for a big explosion, and it'd be hazardous to the people inside the vehicle probably. So there is no push right now for nuclear power within vehicles. Any other questions? Anything off the top of your head you want to think of? No? Any questions from the one taking the video? No? Alright.